Hey, my name is Phil Kamp with Klang Technologies. We're here at ProLight & Sound 2018 in Frankfurt, Germany. And we're showing what is new with our products Klangfabrik and Klang 4. So, as some of you might know, we are doing a binaural or 3D in-ear monitoring processor, which allows the engineers to place the signals that a musician needs to hear all around their heads and above and below, in difference to how it would be in a stereo situation where everything has to be inside the head between left and right ear. For more information on the basics for that, please visit www.klang.com, where there's plenty of information and videos about that. But now I'm going to show you some of the news that we presented in the last couple of weeks.
Yes, because we filmed you about a year ago when you were presenting this, so what's changed since then?
Okay, since then, we changed mostly the firmware and software part of it. So all the basics, like the audio part and the 3D part, is still the same. But we implemented a much more powerful snapshot automation. We have recall saves for the mixes, for the inputs. We now can use up to 100 snapshots per show file. Also, we have a completely open routing matrix now, so we can take all the digital standards like optical, Dante and MADI and not only use them as inputs and outputs for our devices, but also convert between all those standards. So now Klangfabrik is not only a 3D device, but it's also a full-featured format converter under the hood.
Oh, that's handy.
We also integrated, wait, let me just go to the other unit here, the possibility to use EQs. So, we have gotten a couple of requests from people that just want to use the inputs from stage boxes straight without any mixing board in between, especially for the personal monitoring part of it. And those guys requested EQs. So, we were thinking about just implementing a regular parametric EQs in there, but we figured that it's kind of hard to operate those for a musician that is not trained as a sound engineer. So we tried to rethink the concept to operate EQs a little bit. Let me show you how we did that. So we can select a preset, which could be, for example, a kick drum preset, and then I can tune it. So now we see the curve of the kick drum preset here, and with one finger I can change the intensity of the EQ, flatten it out, or even inverse it. And I can also tune the whole EQ. So what a musician can do is just move his finger intuitively around until it sounds right and just leave it there. And he doesn't have to think about frequencies, gains or cues at all.
Is there any way of varying the cue though?
It does automatically, as you can see. You see? So that's that. So it's also all preset based. Exactly. On top of that, we changed some part of the channel naming, so it gets a little bit more powerful and faster to assign channels to groups. Also, a brand new feature is cascading. So now we can actually implement a full cascade if we are using several units at once. And there's actually not really a limit for that, at least we didn't find it out. If we activate the cascade mode, all the units in my network will appear as one big one. So theoretically I could have a row with 30 mixes up there if I would like to, or even more. And all the snapshots and show files will follow the master unit of all of that. So this caters especially the requests and needs of the bigger installations that we're having right now in big churches in the US, but also in musical theaters and a lot of broadcast applications and TV productions. Okay, so on top of that, we have integrated the possibility to control snapshots in every screen, so that makes it much easier to just go to the next song, for example. Also, you will find the plus and minus button here, which can zoom the icons to make them fit on any number and any size of screens. Now we have a big screen over here. If I have a small iPad mini, I would of course like to have a completely different visualization of the signals. We also integrated a solo link. So if I solo a couple of channels here, those will also be isolated in the placement parts, so I can only move those, but not the other ones. Once I clear solo, I have access to all of them again. And we upgraded the Q mode a little bit. So if I activate the Q mode, this mix is now queuing the rest of the signals, the rest of the mixes. So for example, if I select now the guitar mix, the vocals would be queuing the third mix, which can be used, of course, by an engineer who wants to listen to the other mixes, but it can also be used by a musical director of a band who can listen into the mix of a fellow musician that has a problem and help him fix it without having to get up and plug himself into some other device. So it's a very flexible part with that. Last thing I want to show you is that we integrated 2 new modes. So we have the admin mode to operate the system, which lets me access everything in the whole unit. The show mode lets me access everything except for clocking and routing, for example. Then we have the musician mode, which locks me in one mix. So I can just focus on my mixes and I don't have to be worried to, by accident, getting into the wrong mix by another musician. And then, whoops, sorry. On top of that, we have the personal mode, which is nearly the same as the musician mode, so we're still locked in one mix. But on top of that, I can rename and recolor and regroup all my channels by myself. And I have local shows, which will be stored and recalled on this device for this user only. And it even gets one step further. If this musician here, let's say the singer, takes a snapshot and recalls it, this mix automatically gets globally recall saved, so his mix is completely independent. It's like having his own unit that doesn't have anything to do with the rest of the unit. So that has made the system much more flexible again.
So it sounds like you've done a lot of work on the usability of it.
Yes, we're in constant contact with our users, and we try to get as much feedback as possible, request and discuss with them when we have new ideas. And basically everything that I showed you there was the result of discussions and contact with our user groups, which is basically the ones that know best what they need and what they would like to have.
That's great. Thanks very much.
My pleasure.